Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and I'll say known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode, we finally watched as the sidereal horizon left with Lem and Mina. With them taken care of, there's only one more thing for us to see, one more ending for us to look at. And we should see what this ending will be just now. Then after that, we'll have the DLC. But for now... Sleeper! Long time! Moritz is smiling at you when you leave, clearly happy to see you again. Moritz! Good to see you. Same. How you been? Really well. Good to hear it. I knew you'd make it work. You're a smart one. Hey, look. I'm not down here to chat, though. I know Bliss said she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she's changed her mind or something, because now we have someone looking for a refit on their ship in our bay. You would not believe it. They want their entire ship disarmed. Cutting out defense arrays, weapon lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. He leans in. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with all the hardware we'll have up there when we are done. Anyway, it's a massive job and we need some hands. Bliss said to go get you. So come on up. Bliss is waiting for you to accept the job. It'll be good to have you up there again, like old times. Big ship. Okay, we can do that. Head on up. When you enter the bay, it is weirdly quiet. Moritz must be out on some errand, and maybe Bliss is prepping the kit? Sleeper. Ankita is drifting at one side of the bay. You missed her completely when you came in. The idea of not seeing Ankita when you entered her room would have seemed unlikely to you several cycles ago, but seeing her without her armor, she seems smaller, less imposing. Ankita. She nods and kicks off from the wall, drifting closer. So what is this? Come to avenge Ashton or his sleeper, or just looking for another payout? Her anger is familiar but quieter than before. Restrained. I don't want to fight. Then why are you here? She looks away and you can tell her anger isn't directed at you in particular. It radiates off her like fire. You better be ready to sign, comes a shout from the bay entrance, because I've got my best repair tech coming up here especially, and they are going to... Bliss glides in and suddenly stops herself when she sees you and Ankita standing off. Oh, Sleeper, you're already here. Miss Cassetta, this is the tech I was telling you about. Best on the Wait. Do you two know each other? You and Ankita look at each other. We worked together. Bliss squints at you both before continuing. Bliss produces a slate. Now, Miss Cassetta, if you would like to sign our damage waiver here, we can start on the decommissioning. My tech here is eager to get started, as am I. Ankita scrawls her signature across the slate. Thank you. And everything is okay with the special payment terms we discussed? She gives Ankita a strange smile. All fine, says Ankita, giving you another hard look. Then she kicks off and drifts to the entrance. I'll be in the gimbal, she says, and leaves. Special payment terms? She looks over her glasses at you. Look, Sleeper, there's something I have to tell you. She glances around again. What is she so nervous about? This isn't exactly a typical job. Miss Cassetta, Ankita, doesn't have the chits to pay us, so we made a special agreement. I'm leaving. You're joining a mercenary crew. Don't make me laugh. Ankita is an ex-merc. Why do you think she's getting us to remove all her ship's armaments? Amber. The ship is called Amber. Bliss gives you a funny look. There's some deep history here, huh? Look, all I care is that she is heading for the Starward Belt. That's where I'm headed. She turns back to face you. Also, I wanted to ask if you'd like to come with us. I can't. I know things have been hard for you on the Eye, and you helped me so much. I asked Ankita if she'd carry two of us, and she said yes. Moritz will take over the bay anyway, although if you stay, you're welcome to help him run it. I just thought... you might be in need of a fresh start as much as I am. She turns away nervously. Think about it anyway. The berth is there. We've got to finish the job first anyway. And with that, she kicks away and heads to the racks, before you can offer an answer. Moments later, Moritz enters with a new cutting torch for the disarming of the ambergris. A starward belt. You push your thoughts to the back of your mind. Time to get to work. So, disarm Amber. Ankita wants it all out. Weapons, countermeasures, torpedoes. It would be a risky job if you didn't know Amber so well. Well, this should be relatively easy. Once this job is ready, you better be ready to make a fast decision. Stay with Moritz or go with Ankita and Bliss. Working on Amber is a joy. You know every inch of its hull after all. You fitted half of it. Oh, we can take these. There we go. Amber looks better than she ever has before. Bliss has done an incredible job of cleaning up the hull, and despite the exterior changes being limited, she has the impression of being lighter, somehow sleeker than before. Moritz drifts by. He's been loading up the final equipment onto Amber. Turns out Ankita will be taking her weapons, but packed and ready to sell at the first starward belt port she hits. But now that Moritz is done, he seems in a kind of daze, floating back and forth aimlessly. You okay, Moritz? What's that? Oh, right. Yeah, packed and stacked. I was hoping Miss Cassetta would let me keep a warhead. For what? I don't know. Just might be a cool thing to have around. Hey, Sleeper. Did you know Bliss was leaving? You understand now. She told him. That's why he's like this. I did. He nods distractedly. She said this place is mine. He looks up, around the bay like it is suddenly some vast space he doesn't know what to do with. You'll do a great job. He looks down at you. Hey, thanks. I appreciate you saying that. Not many people believed in me before now. First Bliss, then you. A dark look suddenly crosses his face. Hey, Sleeper. There was something Bliss said. Are you going too? Before you can answer, Ankita glides into the bay, a massive crate on her shoulder. Sleeper, you coming or what? Bliss is already on board. She stops by the terminal, holding herself in place. Moritz looks at her with a dazed expression. You look at Ankita. She's keeping it together now. She's packed all those bad feelings down someplace where you'll never see them and built a tough foundation on top. She may not be a mercenary anymore, but you imagine most people would think twice before trying to cross her. Well, I'm not eager to spend another moment of my time on this station unless I have to. She pauses, looking between you and Moritz. I'll give you a minute. And she kicks off with the crate, taking it to the end of the bay, where the Amber sits docked. You look back at Moritz. I'm staying. Moritz looks like he might pass out. Sleeper, are you sure? Are you doing this for me? The bay needs me. Couldn't leave me alone with the place in the end, huh? Ankita comes back across the bay, the final crate stowed. You staying then, Sleeper? I'm staying. She nods. Well, okay then. One less mouth to feed. Look, Sleeper, I'm not going to go back over everything that happened. I'm trying to put that behind me, but I hope you find what you're looking for out here. She smiles and kicks off, gliding to the ambergris and the starward belt beyond. You both watch in silence as Amber's drives fire up. I guess this is our place now, says Moritz, the weight of everything suddenly hitting him. Your place. Okay, but I'll need some help from time to time. You both stay for a while to watch Amber and Bliss and Ankita leave, and then Moritz goes to the racks to finally implement a new organizational system, and you head out, promising to be back to check on things soon. As you glide around the soft curve of the hub, you catch glimpses of the distant stars flickering through the windows. They are beautiful, it's true, but by now you think of them as a distraction. In your time on the Eye, you've realized there's nothing out there waiting for you. No fresh starts, and no bright futures. Just a whole load of problems you haven't found yet. No, your place is here, among the people you know and the problems you know. You wish Ankita and Bliss the best of luck out in the belt, but as you do, you focus on the Eye, on the vast spinning rim that rotates around its hub, on its buildings and flashing lights, on its people and places. This is your home, and, for now, it contains all the futures you need. And that's the third possible ending. Or at least canceling the third possible ending. Nothing to say. Oh, yes, there is. Next round is yours. Moritz arrives at the table with a couple of steel drink canisters, typical of the hub's only bar, the Gimbal Lounge. He settles into the webbing beside the table and clunks them down onto the magnetic table. This place, you have decided, is ridiculous. A rapidly spinning cavernous sphere, the Gimbal's weak gravity, just like the gravity at the Eye's rim, is created by its gut-wrenching rotation. The interior surface of the sphere is the Gimbal's floor, which descends towards the equator, where one long bar loops around the entire circumference. Tumbling out from that central ring are an array of booths and seating arrangements, equipped with all kinds of harnesses and webbing to keep customers in place. Those harnesses are there because the gimbal doesn't quite spin up fast enough, and you watch as the clientele bounce towards the bar in lazy arcs or shift from table to table with graceful leaps. "What are you thinking?" asked Moritz, noticing you staring out into the gimbal. "How weird this place is." Moritz glances around, as if for the first time. "Yeah, Bliss never used to like coming here." Moritz takes a drink and stretches. "So, Sleeper, you sticking around?" "If you'll have me." Moritz nods. "Of course, I'm going to need help in the bay." Moritz rubs the back of his head. "One cycle at a time, that's how we'll take it. Nice and easy." You aren't sure if he's talking to himself or you. "We'll make it." He lifts his drink for a toast. "To the next cycle," he pronounces, and knocks it back. Later, when you finally leave the gimbal, Moritz is still laughing. You help him out of the spinning gimbal and back into the hub, sending him on his way home to the bay. Then you pause for a moment to watch the stars as they spin and spin around the Eye. You smile to yourself and think of Bliss and Ankita out there somewhere among those points of light. To the next cycle. A fair ending. You know, I don't want to start the last bit right now. I'm going to do one thing first, and that's just use up this last bit, buy some food. And I think I'm going to take this time. You know what, I'll use the 3 and just buy and just do a quick hack. But I'm going to take the next bit of time to talk about each of the people and the stories that we get out of all of them. I am not going to remember all of the names. I can say that right at the beginning. But I am still going to do what I can here. Ah, right, Tambor Tea House. That's where I deposit these. Alright. And one other thing I'll do just as... Oh, wait. Oh, that's done. Okay. It's a weird thing. And I'll just toss this on for self-repair. So, each of the stories... Well, we of course started with the old guy, who gave us a place to live and needed our help taking care of some ships, but was obviously trying to hide things. I guess the story there was simply, He's just a guy trying to keep his head down and do things and not get attention from other people that he doesn't need. That is kind of a dangerous place to go with things. Oh, I can see the completed ones, can't I? I can. So it's not Hardin. Yeah, Dragos, that was it. Dragos, the old guy. Cleared his debt, but as soon as he started poking around in places that he was getting connected to, he kind of didn't want to deal with it anymore. Which I can respect. Some people, they just want to live. They don't want to get involved in shit that they don't want to deal with. It's a thing. I get it. Let's see. Next, we've got the big story with Fang. Fang, that was a big story. He was from the old days of the station when they threw off corporate rulership and was aware that someone from those days was still trying to do corporate shit. And he was trying to expose them. You know what? That's fine. While he may seem a bit of an idealist, yearning for the older days when things were better, I can understand why he would still be doing things to try and push to do things better. And he did eventually succeed. He found out that the station was going to be taken over and torn apart and the people on there thrown off. So it's good that he managed to do it. He was able to help us. It was interesting in a way. All of it to help the people and stop corporations. Next we have the story with Neovend and the AI on the station, which seemed to basically be the idea of the AI that ruled the station. Some of the programs just kind of went a little out of control and just kept going with their goal, i.e., stop sentient or sapient AI. Which, unfortunately, AI left on its own, at least in this case, does evolve to a situation where it becomes sapient on its own. Which meant that over time, as Hunter and Killer found it, it would get killed off bit by bit by bit until eventually there's nothing left. Neovend was all that was able to survive by escaping into something completely separate from everything else. That was the only way it was able to survive. We helped it to become Navigator, and helped it in order to stop Hunter and Killer, which wasn't much, since Navigator and I were the only ones left as a threat. Or, not a threat, but the only ones that they could threaten. Eventually, Hunter would just be walking around a dead ghost space, which was basically what it was without me and Neovend, and Killer was on the verge of slaughtering itself. There was nothing left for it. We left them where they were, Hunter just locked into an endless loop, and Killer just locked in a prison. A Navigator is somewhere to deal with things. And through it, we found Gardner. Gardner, who we spoke with again after dealing with, what's her name? Rico finding out everything that was going on in the Greenway, and learning about how it was staying alive. Learning about Gardner, and that Gardner was doing what it could in order to keep the Greenway alive, keep the AI alive, and somehow connecting that into the life there, which it used to keep the people alive. It's not really a symbiosis, but it was doing what it could. Okay, on to another story. We have, let me think. Ethan, yes. Ethan, the merc who was coming after us. And unfortunately is a heavy drinker who thought, hey, I can take advantage of this. I'm going to take advantage of this in order to drink however much I want and then just take him in when I'm done. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. He took too long, and got dumped to the side. And while he said he was going to help us by protecting us, he was just doing that so that he would be able to get back in good terms with SNARP and get back to his job, and so he could keep drinking. Then the other guy killed him, and that didn't work out for him. So, yeah, Ethan's a bit of a scumbag. Let's see. Then we have Ankita. Ankita, well, she was basically a merc. Member of her crew stole an important thing from her ship and ran off. I can understand her anger. She repaired her ship and then asked me, go find the guy and fix it. We did, and discovered that he did it so that he could save a sleeper that he loved. Ankita showed up, didn't care because he stole from her, and got in a fight. He and the sleeper both died. And Ankita, despite being a mercenary, finally felt regret for what happened, because it was all a mess. She even admitted that if he had told her, she wouldn't have handed anything off to her. So it basically ended up being a whole mess. And now that she's leaving with Bliss, there's not much to say. She's trying to run away from her past, I suppose, and abandon the merc life. I don't know what she's going to do out there, but hopefully she's able to find a better peace. Speaking of Bliss, I mean, that's a fairly simple story. Simple woman, just trying to start up her business and keep it afloat, despite some difficulty. Nothing really special. I don't know why she chose to leave. That's not really explained. But she did and left it to the other guy. No big deal. Let's see. What else is there? I'm thinking of... Oh, yes. Emphis. Emphis is a story about stories. You give him food, you tell him some of your stories to build up your own history, and then he tells you one of his own. Simple, basic, I like it. Nothing too fancy there. Then we've got the big fancy story with, why am I blanking on his name again? Feng. Oh no, we did talk about Feng. Never mind. Yeah, we dealt with that. Sabine and Rabaya. That's another big story. Sabine, a member of SNR, the same company we were from, who was trying to help out the people here and having escaped from basically blowing the whistle on what SNR was doing, got roped into doing debt by someone who was also locked in by SNARP, and Rabaya, who worshipped him until she found out the truth of what SNARP was doing with the gang. Basically using them to test all their stuff. Kinda cruel of SNARP, as we can see, but at least they were able to get through it. I think... Oh, and finally, Lem and Mina. A story of a guy who saved a girl and who saved a young child and is just trying to do what's right for her, keep her alive. He was doing the work to try and get them away to a grand escape, a grand, glorious planet where they could live and be safe and all that, but they got fucked over by a corporation saying, "Fuck you, we just needed some cheap labor." Away where no one else would be looking at us. But at least at the end, it seemed Lem and Mina were able to find a way to live here. Sure, you can still send them to leave and head out to that hopefully glorious place they would go to, or they could stay here where they're already forming a home with their neighbors with Mina finding other friends, with us, me. It's a nice story, but it's sad in either way. Either they don't get their dream of leaving to another glorious world where Mina could finally feel the sun and feel the rain, possibly with or without you, or they leave and, well, since I want to keep going, they'd go without me. And when I played that, it just feels so... You're cutting it off right at the end. It feels harsh and wrong. It's not right doing it that way. And doing it only to be able to see the rest of the game, it feels cruel. Anyway, that's my opinion on these stories. But we're not quite done. We still have one more thing to do. All the way out here. The DLC. The episodes, Flux, Refuge, and Purge. We're gonna be doing that one. But we'll start that in the next episode. So, until then, I am Chester44, Arsene is Fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.